And for the first time in history, WNBA games will be played in the United Center. The Chicago Sky will host the Indiana Fever at the UC on Saturday, June 7th, and on Sunday, July 27th. The highly anticipated games will feature Fever star Caitlin Clark against the Sky's very own Angel Reese. The largest attendance at a Sky game ever happened in 2016 at Allstate Arena with more than 16,000 fans, while the United Center can fit more than 20,000, so more fans can get in on the action. Tickets go on sale on March 11th.
Angel Reese wants us to remember that women's basketball is about the whole team, not just one player. But the Chicago Sky just showed us a powerful reminder of what that really means. They didn't just reschedule a game, they made history by bringing their matchup with the Indiana Fever to the United Center, the iconic home of the Chicago Bulls.
Martin looking. Here's Clark. She fires and goes! Wow!
And why did they do it? Not because of Angel Reese, not because of any one player, but because of Caitlin Clark.
In platforms on Tuesday night, making it the most watched WNBA game on ESPN Network since the WNBA debut of the Phoenix Mercury star, Diana Taurasi. Passing Diana Taurasi, what a way to start the season.
Well, I mean, listen, this girl is
This isn't a subtle message, it's like a neon billboard shining bright for everyone in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark is the main attraction, and even teams that say otherwise are jumping on the chance to benefit from her star power. But here's where it gets interesting. Before Caitlin Clark, the WNBA was having a tough time filling seats, let alone making headlines with big moves like this.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Let me get to some sports items. That's my wheelhouse. I got a few things on my mind, actually. I didn't mention it in my cold open, but I'm going to mention it now, and that's Caitlin Clark herself of the WNBA. Let's get to the WNBA and this sensational rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops.
Now, entire franchises are reshaping their business strategies around her. Angel Reese and her camp might want to look the other way, because the truth is hard to ignore. Caitlin Clark is the game changer. And the Chicago Sky just made that undeniable. Buckle up, folks, because we're diving into the controversy that's taking over the basketball world. Before we dive in, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're breaking down the hottest stories with high-energy analysis you won't find anywhere else.
Has WNBA changed just because of one player? Is Caitlin Clark...
Let's be honest, the Chicago Sky's decision to move their game against Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever to the United Center wasn't just a business move, it was a statement. This is the first WNBA game ever played there, and it's happening only because of Clark's star power. Angel Reese has been saying that she and other players deserve just as much credit for the league's growth, but if that were the case, why wasn't Chicago making these moves for anyone else?
I need to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. But
If Reese's claims were valid, we'd see Chicago expanding for other matchups too. But that's not happening. This is Caitlin Clark's world, and everyone else is just along for the ride.
Average attendance of WNBA games not involving Caitlin Clark is 8,490. So games that Caitlin Clark plays are averaging 85% more than non-Caitlin Clark games. Just throwing that out there. You need to know. You need to understand these are the kind of things that comes with it.
Let's talk numbers. Before Caitlin Clark, the WNBA averaged around 6,600 fans per game. Now, arenas are packed, and viewership is breaking records. When Caitlin Clark steps onto the court, it's not just a game, it's an event. The move to the United Center is just the latest sign that the WNBA is riding the Caitlin Clark wave, whether they want to admit it or not. Before Caitlin Clark entered the league, WNBA games were struggling to reach mainstream audiences. Sure, there was a loyal fan base, but let's be real, many games barely made an impact beyond the hardcore fans.
Said if I had transferred earlier in my career, I wouldn't be having the time of my life.
The matchups were competitive, but they didn't have that must-watch factor. Some arenas were half-empty, TV ratings were stuck, and media coverage was minimal. Now, everything has changed, and one name stands at the heart of it all: Caitlin Clark.
James has really taken upon her shoulders to be more aggressive offensively to trade, and Caitlin Clark for three. Rattled
recently being the first WNBA player that has recorded consecutive 20
Reese. Bentley tips it away and off and running. Caitlin Clark whips a pass.
Caitlin Clark's arrival wasn't just big, it was a cultural shift. Attendance skyrocketed almost overnight, merchandise flew off the shelves, and networks scrambled to secure WNBA broadcast rights. Suddenly, ticket prices surged to levels no one had ever seen before.
Well, Drea, you don't have to wait any longer. The pick is in. Time to get things back to the podium. Here is the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert.
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of...
And here's the kicker, entire teams started adjusting their business models just to accommodate her presence. Angel Reese might argue that no one player defines the league, but the numbers tell a different story.
Golden Doodle. Oh! That's golden.
Take Indiana's opening game against the New York Liberty as Exhibit A. Over 17,000 fans packed Gainbridge Fieldhouse, creating an atmosphere usually reserved for NBA playoffs or A-list concerts. The energy was electric. This wasn't a coincidence, it was the Caitlin Clark effect in action. She's not just growing the game, she's revolutionizing it.
Miriam Maru are your officials here today. She's up there with rebounds, up there with steals. And she'll take the first three-pointer.
Still skeptical about Clark's influence? Let's look at two teams that literally changed where they play just to capitalize on her arrival. The Atlanta Dream, instead of playing at their usual Gateway Center arena, moved their games against the Indiana Fever to State Farm Arena, the home of the Atlanta Hawks.
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
Well, Caitlin Clark hugging her family, her brothers, Blake and Colin, her father Brent, her mother Ann, and heading...
Meanwhile, the Washington Mystics didn't hesitate to move their games to Capital One Arena, where the Wizards play. Bigger venues, more seats, more money.
Bucket, start to the season in terms of scheduling. Yes, they are ready. And they have fresh legs coming in here to DC.
As the Fever get the jump, and the first bucket is down by... Here's Van Loo. Getting Edwards on the move. Got it deep.
The defense would definitely be at the top of the list.
Wallace in the corner gets that to go.
Wilson sticks.
Here's Boston off the pick and roll. Little hesitation, gets that off.
Take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person.
What do both of these moves have in common? They happened because of Caitlin Clark.
to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too. And I want y'all to realize that.